Hello everybody, it's time for a new deck and a new video, and this time it's an high evo video, or I would say an high evo deck. We only use actually one high evo card here because even though he got a buff with stat boost, most of his cards are not good enough to put him in a deck. But the other cards are really good, like for example the new cards Diamondback and Laufey. So he is really strong now with a bomb. So High Evo itself is finally a card that you can play, and it's not a dead card. It was 4/4 at one point. Now it's finally 4/7. I still think yeah, either the cards he supports need a little bit more boost, or he needs one or two more stats. But at least the card now feels decent to play, and you can play him as well as a 4/7, which is not the end of the world. So this is Affliction deck. That means we want to have one drop. You don't want to play Sunspot here or Misty, for example, because it doesn't, we don't float energy, so it doesn't really work with the high evo stuff most of the time. But you play Silver Sable here, and for people that don't have Silver Sable, you can play Wasp instead, and it's basically it does the same. It's decent. You steal power right now, like at that moment. So I think even in some games, Wasp might be better because you can play Wasp on the last turn, and yeah, you buff your Ajax, for example, one more power. The second card is Hazmat, one of the best cards in this deck, and really strong card, especially on the last turn. Huge power swing, especially if you have Luke Cage for 2 cost. Really fun and good card, and it just feels really nice to play this card. It's just a good feeling if you play this card and you remove, I don't know, like 10 power from all of the cards. So that makes her the best 2-drop in this deck, and there's no other card you want to play in this slot. Compared to other 2 costs, the card is really strong here. So Hazmat and then of course Scorpion are the best 2-drops here, and Scorpion is really good against surtur decks. Surtur got nerfed, so we don't really see him that much anymore, but I still have seen him a few games, and yeah, Scorpion basically destroys the gameplay if you draw a lot of 10 costs with surtur. So this does a lot of damage, and also he's a 2/3 now, which makes the card not unplayable. One stat is actually a lot in decks like these, so that's a really good deck. Next card is US Agent, and US Agent is still a really strong card. He sadly got nerfed a little bit. I think they can revert the nerf, especially if we think about Hela. That's probably one of the best, if not the best deck right now. So US Agent might be too weak against deck like these. It's -3 power, which is a lot if you think about that, but how easy is it really, like for Hela for example, to get so many cards with so many big power? And US Agent basically does nothing against them. Same with, for example, arishem. You have so many big cards you can just play on another lane, or you just play it on their lane. So yeah, US Agent isn't that strong anymore, but he's still one of the best cards in this deck. And yeah, especially with Luke Cage, you can play him on a lane where you have your big cards as well, so you can outpower your opponent with a lot of stuff. Luke Cage is not always the prior to play, so sometimes it's worth more to reduce the power of your own cards if you get a bigger Ajax and win the game by that. So you can, usually what I do is I play Luke Cage on the last turn anyways, if I don't play Ajax on the last turn, because I don't want to get away the Luke Cage. I don't want to have my opponent rogue me. So you can decide if Luke Cage is the better choice here, if it makes your Ajax not too small, so you need to calculate a little bit. Diamondback is a really fun card in this deck, and it's actually worth it with just one card. So I think Diamondback and Hazmat combo is a really nice combo, and worth it to play right now. So it's -3 for all of the cards in one lane. That's a really high minus power with just 2 cards. So you play these 2 cards and you already have a good win condition with just 2 small and little cards. And then if you have a Luke Cage by yourself, that makes stuff even stronger for yourself, of course, and just surprises your opponent a little bit that you can reduce so much power with just 2 cards. Red Guardian isn't necessary to play, but he has still the -2 power here, which is then even better with Diamondback. But in my opinion, if you don't have Red Guardian, which you should have by now, it's one of the best cards, so if you don't have him, get him. If you can't get him and you don't have the resources, then you should change this card to any good free drop. I usually like Rocket Raccoon here, and if you don't have that card as well, then it's always good to have Copycat. Red Guardian is just a good tech card in the sense that we can destroy just one matchup with Red Guardian. We can delete an Iron Man, for example. We can delete Mobius from the discard. And what I do a lot in the recent games is I delete a lot of Hellcows against Hella decks. So that's one discard less and can actually make a difference. And then the second new card is Laufey, I think you pronounce like that. He's a good card, and it just shows how bad high EVO cards really are, because this card is a 4/5 and it's a better card than the Thing, and the Thing needs high EVO to work. So that's kind of sad that this card has more stats and is way easier to play than the Thing. So you just play him on the lane with hopefully 6 cards, like 3 of your own is okay as well, and 3 of your opponent cards even better. And then you get so much power, and then you can play Luke, and then your power gets back to your other cards, which is really strong. The card is so easy to play, and it's worth it to play even if you only steal like 2 or 3 power, which is a huge power swing. And I think the card will probably get nerfed after a while. So play him while he's good, and the card everyone should have this card, I think, because it's the free event card, right? So there's no really replacement for that one. The next one is replaceable. Anti-Venom is just a decent combo if you play it with Luke Cage, and I think it's just way too easy to play. It allows us to do a lot of stuff on the last turn. For example, we get a 0-cost Ajax or so. We got a 0-cost Hazmat, which makes us play an Ajax and an Hazmat on turn 6, which is a really surprise power swing. And then, of course, it's our second way to play, for example, a 0-cost Abom or a 0-cost Red Guardian or anything like that. So the card is broken with Luke Cage, so if you have him, that's your best choice to play here. If not, I would say you can play the Thing here because you have high EVO in our deck, and why not just take advantage of that. So high EVO, like I said in the intro, is now a decent card, a card that's playable for 7 cards. You can play this card on turn 4 if you don't have anything else to play. Usually you have other stuff to play and you can just play free drop instead, which is what I do a lot of games. But he's still playable now, and 7 stats is finally okay. He will probably get buffed again, or his cards will get a buff. But for now he is just a stat card, and sometimes he can win you the game. And because he's the highest power cards in your hand, and you can play him on turn 6, for example, with an Hazmat, and that's a huge power swing. So that's what I like about this card right now. Like I already said, is we only have one card here, Abom, but if you feel like you can still add more cards, we usually use all of our energy, so we don't float a lot. So Hulk and Cyclops didn't really work here. I tried it, and sadly it wasn't that strong or not that reliable, so I only use one card here. But if you don't have another 4-drop, for example, you can play the Thing instead. And then our best card in the deck is Ajax. Gets up to 16 power a lot of games, sometimes even 18. I think 14 is like the middle, what I get a lot of games. The problem with this card is if you play too early, it gets rogued or enchantress. So I try to play this card on turn 6 if possible. And the best turn 6 is of course this card plus Hazmat. And Hazmat is a 2 cost, so that means we need to have 1 more energy, or we need to have a 0 cost Hazmat with Anti-Venom. So that doesn't happen a lot of games, but if it happens, it's one of the biggest power swings and one of the biggest surprises in the game, and just feels good to play and see how you suddenly get this huge power swing that wins you the game and turns the game around. And then our last card usually is a 1/9 or a 0/9, so it's one other card I play a lot with Ajax on the last turn for a huge power swing. Also, you can play this card early, for example, if you get a good Silver Sable on turn 1 and then he already plays his reduced card, and then you do the different reduced power, and then you can play him for 3 cost or 2 cost on turn 3 or 4. Sometimes it's worth it to play Hazmat on turn 2 if he has a lot of cards on the field, so you can play Abom as early as possible. So that was my new deck, and the gameplay was pretty easy. There was a lot of wins I had with this deck, and I still play it right now because it's one of the easiest decks to play. I think for the weekend missions it's of course really good, but you need to be careful because a lot of people start playing Luke Cage now, so this will get a lot weaker after that. But for now it's really strong, and if you see more Luke Cage, you can always try to put in a rogue, maybe an enchantress, and hope you can snipe Luke Cage with that. See you, and I hope you enjoy this deck.